Wrestling Network. Welcome back to the Temple, and welcome back to Linking Up Luchas. I'm your host, Logan Crosland, and tonight we will continue to look at the characters, matches, and drama that Lucha Underground has to offer. Let me now bring in my co-host for the night, Scott Shifflett. How you doing?
Logan, it's great to be back in this arena that we call the Temple. I forgot the word for Temple. Spoiler alert. I'm glad to be back here. We're season 2. It feels like we had just finished season 1. We took a little bit of a break with the launch of the feed and to move everything over from Noso. Thank you guys for letting us bring it over. And it feels good to be back here. And it's even better. I think I have a better co-host this time with me.
Oh, well, yeah, I would agree so. I mean, anybody's an upgrade from Sean, but you have probably the best co-host that you could possibly have, and that's Jennifer Smith. How you doing?
Oh, thanks, boys. It is so good to be back. We switched up teams. We're shaking it up a little bit. I like that. Can't wait to see what Schiff has to say. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth. So,
Oh, yeah.
Spoiler alert, neither do I.
yeah. Excited for season 2 and excited for the launch of the Backbone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was Schiff's mouth is always a Russian roulette, so
Yep.
you never know what's going to come out. But yes, we are continuing season 2 here. As of the time we're recording, the first episode on the Backbone hasn't come out yet, but it's coming out in the next couple of days. So we have started season 2, but this is our second jaunt into season 2 with episodes 3 and 4 that aired on February 10th and February 17th, 2016. I will go to Schiff. You listened to a recording that I sent you of what we talked about last time, but what did you think about what we talked about last time?
Okay, so not gonna lie, guys. I kind of forgot there was 2 titles here. So when I found out that King Cuerno won the Gift of the Gods title, I was like, oh, so King Cuerno's the world champ now. But I was like, no, that's just like the Money in the Bank title, essentially. So that took me a minute to do. And then I need to go back and watch. I want to see when they broke Vampiro out of the mental institution because they said in the first 2 episodes they sort of alluded to him. It's like, yeah, I'm taking his meds. There's none of that tonight. It's like the dropped angle, to steal something from JT and Chad for Wrestling Warzone with a dropped angle. Seems like they might have dropped this angle because it's not talked about on these 2 episodes really. Just some weird like when he sees Pentagon, he stands up and stares at him like a weirdo, but he's supposed to be his master. So it's I want to see what happens with that. But as we know with Lucha Underground, they'll leave something dormant for 10 episodes. And it's like, hey, remember this thing that's probably a year and a half in real time, but for us it's like 4 months and we can barely remember. So I wonder how the people at the time thought. And we had Pentagon breaking Mill's arm, which I thought was pretty dope. I want all the titles on Pentagon. You can give him the Gift of the Gods, the Gift of the Rock, the 7 Aztecs. Just give all the titles to Pentagon. He's my MVP for everything. And I'm going to leave the big news that came from the first 2 episodes to Miss Jennifer Smith.
Oh, boy. Well, I only know the big news because you told it to me. So thank you for that. Because as of this recording, the previous recording is not out yet. And I didn't have time to look it up today. So the big news, I guess, is that Rey Mysterio has joined us in the Temple.
Yes, he did make an appearance at the end of the last episode. So big star to get there. Big, huge superstar in the lucha world. So big get for them, I'd say. We had Alberto in the last season. I feel like he's a pretty big star, or was at that point, based on his run in WWE. But Ray's been in WCW. He was in Mexico. He was in WWE. So the fact that he came in here is pretty huge for them at this point. Probably a little bit more money going to him, so less money for production and stuff. But,
yeah.
But yeah.
When he came in, was it in a cinematic scene or was it in the Temple?
It was in a cinematic scene. He was talking to who we will come to know as El Dragon Azteca Jr., who he's kind of bestowed the mask of El Dragon Azteca, who we saw get murdered in the Ultima Lucha episodes of season 1. So
R.I.P.
He is
we saw somebody get murdered in wrestling, you guys. So
multiple people in last season, yeah.
Well, and then you saw those frat boys get murdered in episode 1.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So
a lot of murder in this.
Love it. Wrestling needs more murder.
won't be
Agreed.
won't be the last murder for sure. So
Okay,
we will
great.
see more. So, um, but yeah, big happenings on the last, and we got quite a few vignettes for some other new players that we'll have. We'll have some of them debut tonight. But yeah, we had quite a few vignettes of new characters in the last episode. But we will get into episode 3. We open with the episode with highlights of King Cuerno winning the Gift of the Gods championship from Phoenix, like Schiff said, and his conversation with Katrina afterwards. We also get Team Dysfunction's match against each other, and then Evilise's match with Mil Muertes, and then Puma and Penta teaming up to kind of take out Mil at the end of the episode, where Penta ended up breaking his arm. So we have a broken champion sitting upon his throne. We get Vampiro and Striker welcoming us in to the temple. Vampiro is so excited that I felt like he was about to have a heart attack. He was just fucking going crazy, and he turned like beet red when he was talking. So yeah, he was very excited.
He's looking like Lesnar after 5 minutes of wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of turned Brock Lesnar purple for sure. So yeah, he was very excited welcoming us in. Talking a lot about Penta. I feel like he's starting on commentary to really favor him and talk about him a lot. Obviously, he's his master, so we'll see if they kind of interact much at all, or if he's just kind of on his side on commentary a lot.
And Logan, in the like stuff for episode 3, like the previous stuff, there's no mention of Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Well, the commentators try to. I don't think they know what happens in these cinematic scenes. It's kind of its own world.
No, but
Mhm.
Makes sense.
yeah, but still, like you think if you had like the biggest lucha star in North America, well, at least the states, not
Yeah,
you'd mention like, oh shit, guys, we got Rey Mysterio. Instead, like
yeah. I
for
don't know.
casual fans,
Mhm. Yeah, I know, but yeah, like I said, I think they kind of try to keep the two worlds apart. So until they actually show up in the temple, they don't really know that they're around per se. I guess maybe like Katrina does or Dario Cueto in some situations do, but Striker and Vamp are really held into like a box to where if it doesn't happen in the temple, they don't know what's going on. So, but yeah,
I
I get
like
where
that.
yeah, I do too. I get where you're coming from, though, Chef. But we'll go to our opening match. It is going to be Bingala versus the debuting Cobra Moon. As I stated on the last episode, Cobra Moon is the modern day Thunder Rosa. So maybe not a big star back at this point, but pretty big star
Oh, I
modern
didn't know
day.
that.
So yeah, like I said, she was kind of new at this point, but obviously a big star now. But we open with a quick drop kick and Hurricane Rana to the outside by Cobra Moon to start things. Moon then hits another drop kick as Bengala is trying to get back in the ring and then hits a slingshot Hurricane Rana to the floor. He comes back in and she hits probably the weakest set of kicks and knees I think I've ever seen. She then charges to the corner, but Bengala gets his boot up. He then hits 2 running headbutts as well as a spinning wheel kick. He then seems to be going for some type of suplex, but she kind of hops on his back and digs at his eyes. He then flips her off of his back and super kicks her while she's on the ground. And he goes for a moonsault, but she gets a knee up when he does that. And then she goes for a dragon sleeper that Stryker actually calls the snake sleeper. And then she binds her legs around him, and it's enough for the tap. Not the best debut match by Cobra here, but I think she has potential, but we'll see. But Jenny, what do you think of this first match?
This was interesting. Her gimmick is very interesting. She owns it like she's supposed to be a snake, I guess. So she slithers around the ring. Her gear looks great. She wears a mask. So I like the look and the presentation. Even though I hate snakes, I enjoyed this. But yeah, the match was shaky. Yeah, a lot of confidence from her, but also just sort of a sloppy match. It looked like Bengala didn't know how to wrestle a woman, if I'm being honest. But I did like her. At one point, he was trying to do like a suplex or something, and she wrapped her legs around him like a snake to like block the suplex, and he couldn't get her up over. So like all her moves were very like snake-like, and she she kept up that energy throughout the match, which I thought was pretty impressive because it seems like one of those things you might kind of forget to do as the match goes along, like, finish up with your snaky moves or whatever. But I thought she did a really good job with this. Um, Big Gala was kind of whatever. He seemed like he didn't really know what was going on, but he did all right. So I did 1 star for this debut.
She's sneaky like a snake.
Shiff, what about you? Sorry.
So what I caught when she came out is Vampiro said Cobra Moon is from one of the 7 families,
Hmm.
and they are evil. And from spoiler alert for what we get later in these next 2 episodes, they talk a lot about the 7 families. So that seems to be like the big driving force this season. That'll have to be something we need to look out for. Um, I will say, like, Bengala threw a shit kick during this, and Vampiro said he threw kicks just like that, which I was like, yeah, because you suck as a wrestler, Vampiro. I did like the six super kick that Bengala hit on Cobra when she was in a sitting position, but then when he went to do the moonsault, he got knees on it, and I like the snake sleeper. I like that it was called the snake sleeper. She's
Yeah.
supposed to be a snake, and we got the tap out. I just did this as a two star squash, like basic squash city sets her up. I'm really interested to see what happens, and it sounds like Lucha Underground. We see all these wrestlers that are like big names now. They really found them before like other companies did, and that's really cool to see. This was made in what, 2014, 2015.
2015,
16.
16, I think it went 2015 to 2018 were the
So
years, yeah.
so there you go, like being found in 2016, 8 years ago, and now a bunch of these people are household names. Like half of them are world champs, or on TV Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, even Thursdays. Like it's just amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was really a breeding ground for a lot of current day, especially AEW. I feel like AEW has a lot of these guys or girls nowadays, and then some of them are in WWE. But yeah, this is a big time place for some of these people who are kind of unproven, or maybe that they were proven before, but they kind of needed some new footing or a new place to kind of work their craft. But yeah, it was definitely a good place for a lot of those people to kind of go to at this point. Um, but we will go from there. We go to Katrina's office, which was formerly Dario Cueto's office. She says she gets a tingle when she feels his presence. And no, Sean Kidd, she's not talking about you. She's talking about Phoenix, of course. Wants to Phoenix wants to get back at Cuerno. She says even with 1,000 lives, he'll run out at some point. He then says when he says before that happens, he'll make sure he destroys King Cuerno, Mil Muertes, and her. We then cut to a flashback of a millennium ago,
Amazing. This is
which
Yep.
amazing.
which was
Yep.
crazy. We get a little girl kind of talking about the Man of the Stars returning. We then get, of course, Aerostar talking to kind of a tribesman, is what I called him. He was just seemed to be like the head guy of the tribe that he was visiting at that point. But Aerostar then says the tribes need to stop fighting and unite, and it's the only way to stop what is coming. He says the gods are coming in the form of a man, and the tribesman says that he has seen the same prophecy, but that won't happen for another 1,000 years. Aerostar then says he must travel there, and then kind of just flies away like Iron Man. It was unbelievable.
Oh, I thought it was like a Power Ranger just to go with
Oh yeah,
us.
Power Ranger. I thought he looked kind of Iron Manish when he
Yeah,
flew away, and there was just
he did.
sparks everywhere. But then the little girl says she knows the tribes must unite, but even with all the hope in her heart, she knows and doesn't think that that will happen. We then go back to the temple where King Cuerno is kind of working out, pumping some iron. Katrina comes in and says he took the title, but he did not destroy the man that is Phoenix. He says he did exactly what she asked, and her wounded animal is now safe from Phoenix. Uh, she then says, wounded or not, not the greatest hunter could even take out Mil Muertes. But they are on the same side, and tonight she has a better hunt for him. She wants him to kill the Phoenix in a last luchador standing, but he won't have to defend his title. And then he says the hunt is on, and then creepily kind of sniffs Katrina for some reason. So, Schiff, what do you think of these kind of 3 scenes back to back to back?
All right. I love. So I didn't mention this, but I love how Mill is the like. He's like in. Y'all seen Mortal Kombat, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
He's like the dude in Mortal Kombat watching the proceedings go,
Yeah.
which I really love.
Me
I
too.
can't think of his name. I know Tim Capel's going to murder me when he hears this.
Shang Tsung.
Yes, thank you. But like seeing the Katrina and like the Phoenix thing, I'm glad they still alluded to that because that means like the past matters in this promotion because that happened way back in the middle of season 1. This had like 34 episodes, guys. This is like Logan will love this, like 90210. So
Yeah.
and then the Millennia Go vignette may be the best vignette of all time of just how absurd it was. But I did not care. Like, give me this. Give me the backstory of the 7 tribes, like, warring with each other, and they need to be reunited for the gods' return. I want to, like, are the gods AEW and WWE? Like, that's what I need to know. Like, and I'm glad. What was that luchador's name? Starman?
Aerostar.
Aerostar, yes. I forgot who that was. So that person showed up. I was like, oh shit, a Power Ranger. And then like he just transported. Like, I'm like super excited. I was like, oh my god, this is great. Like I thought this was a new wrestler. Spoiler alerts, not apparently. I was like, oh my god, like
Very prominent in season 1. Not gonna lie.
yeah. Oh sorry, dude, I had brain surgery.
I know.
So then like the King Cuerno part, like
hmm
I love how Katrina says the best hunter will fall prey to Mil Muertes. Like, just amazing. And last Lucha standing, I can't wait for that because these people have like great chemistry together. Like,
hmm
I just love it. And I love when wrestling can do great matches and do over the top shit like this. It's like the perfect brain meld for me, and
Mhm.
I just love it. So sorry, I can't like. That's why I messaged you guys. Like, I messaged like our little chat, and I was like, I don't even care about the wrestling. Just show me like these crazy stories. Like, I'll be fine just watching that and like piecing it together as I go.
Known telenovela fan, Scott Shifflett.
Yeah,
Hell
pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all in. Like, I love teenage dramas, so this is right up my alley.
All right, Jenny, what did you think?
Yeah, this was incredible. The cinematic scene, 1,000 years in the past, just genius. Like just genius. And Scott, do not feel bad because I also thought this was a new character, and I was like, I called him superhero guy, and then when Logan said Aerostar, I was like, what the fuck? He got a suit upgrade, so he was not recognizable.
Thank you.
Um, so yeah, because he looked like Iron Man. But the effects were great there. The little girl voiceover was great. The fire, she's drawing in the sand, like everything, like perfect. It's amazing, and I feel like this is going to be like a whole um, season long story arc. We're gonna like get the tribes together, and it's gonna be great. Like I'm excited about seeing how they put everything together. And I love the locker or the gym scene. The gym is just covered in graffiti.
hmm
It looks really like cool slash dingy in
Terrifying.
there.
hmm
Yeah, so it's a great spot for a scene like this because it's kind of creepy as well. Because Katrina is just herself and she's amazing. And I thought Corno was really great in this, and I love the sniff at the end.
Oh yeah, yeah. How do y'all feel about how Katrina says Mill's name, Mil Mortis, or however she say? She always creeps me out when she does that for some reason. So,
I like how she says it.
oh yeah, yeah. It's kind of creepy and seductive at the same time. It's
Yeah.
weird. Gives me weird feelings for sure. Um, but we'll move from there to our next match. It's going to be Jack Evans versus Drago. The two kind of feel each other out to kind of start before Jack hits a kick to the gut. They then have a series of reversals where Drago ends up hitting a basement drop kick that knocks Evans to the floor, where Evans kind of paces around a little bit to kind of recover himself. Evans then comes back in, hits Drago from behind. Drago doesn't respond too kindly to that and starts chopping him against the ropes. Evans eventually ducks a charge and scores with a right hand, but kind of gloats after and then eats a right hand from Drago right back. They then continue to trade strikes with Drago, eventually scoring a takedown, but that kind of gets thwarted as Jack ends up biting his hand. Jack then continues to pepper Drago with some strikes. He does a cartwheel into. He randomly does a cartwheel and then gouges his eyes. I thought that was a really funny spot. But very creative for that one. He then charges to the corner, but leaps over Drago, and he ends up getting super kicked in the face for his troubles. Drago then hits some more chops and kicks, goes for a whip across, but Evans bounces back and slams him into the mat. Drago then reverses a whip and hits a back body drop and an arm drag to the outside. Drago then hits a big crossbody dive to the outside from the top rope. Back end Drago hits a hangman DDT, but it's only good for two. Evans is then back up with more kicks and knees. Drago then continues to try to roll him up over and over again. Drago then gets back up and hits a like sick blockbuster DDT is what I called it. It was absolutely brutal. Evans
Yeah.
gets spiked with it, but that shockingly only gets two. He then goes for kind of his little creative roll ups that he does. Kind of ends up being his finisher, but Evans is actually able to reverse it. And then he reverses it into one of his own kind of creative roll ups. But and then that gets him the 3 count, even though controversially his feet were on the rope and one of Drago's shoulders appeared to be up. I think they were trying to play it that they didn't see that or whatever, but his feet were definitely on the rope, so he cheated. And then after the match, Jack takes the mic from Melissa and announces himself not only as the winner, but the Dragon Slayer. So, Jenny, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, this was not bad. I like the biting spot. Jack Evans gives off real cunt energy during the whole match. So I thought that was appropriate for this match. He's very acrobatic, but this and commentary points it out too, ended up being more grinding and pounding than an acrobatic match because there's very little. We got a really cool big dive off the top by Drago, but they really kept it like kind of grounded in this match, and I thought there would be more high flying. I thought there was a really good DDT in there by Drago, and holy shit, that fucking, I don't know, I think he called it inside out and neck breaker or something, whatever the fuck he did.
Called it something.
He folded Jack up and dropped him on his fucking head. It was incredible.
Awesome.
I was shocked when that was not the finish. I was very pissed off when that was not the finish.
Yeah, I thought for sure that would be the finish, honestly.
And it was just lame with the finish with the feet on the ropes. I was like, what the fuck, bro? I was not happy. His post match mic stuff was okay and worked out, but it elicited emotion from me, so I think that's good. It wasn't boring, it was well worked, but just unexpected match and weird finish. So I did the 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, they presented Evans well so far, but I thought the result was kind of shocking too. I figured Drago would take this one, but he lost by nefarious means, so I guess I'm okay with that part of it. But Schiff, what do you think?
I mean, Jack Evans did get a jobber entrance. He was already in the ring when it started. So,
True.
like, I thought, like, oh, Drago's gonna crush him.
Mhm.
Also, Jenny, you said douchebag vibes, right? For Jack
Cunty.
Evans.
I think he said cunty.
My apologies. My apologies.
Same though.
Yes.
Same difference.
He kind of gives me less cool Jay from Jay and Silent Bob vibes.
Yeah.
Like smells like a lot of weed. Like not good weed either. Like
Skank weed.
Like 15-day-old bong water. So I really liked this match. Like it was like so like fast paced and everything that I was just like it kept me entertained. Like there was a part where Drago slapped Jack so hard that he flipped. Like he like bitch smacked him.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice. And then like we got a nice spine buster, and then like the 6 super kick while Evans was only on the top rope. Like I thought was nice. The hanging DDT from the top rope was very good. And like the sick blockbusters, what Jenny was talking about as well. I like the ending where like you forget how athletic he is. Also, for white boys that are tall in this promotion and look like they both don't bathe, him and Angelico confuse me a lot. That's just a side note.
Jack Evans is much shorter than Angelico, but I gotcha.
They both wear like the same color green, like they got it from the marker store.
I believe they teamed before they came.
Okay, well, season 2 they should have new gear. That's all I'm saying. But I like the backslide and the flip on top of him. That was pretty sick and shows how athletic he is. I went 3.25 on this. Like
Wow.
I was really feeling it. Sorry, like I guess it caught me in a good mood that day. So
No, they were very good. I would probably go like 2 3/4. I really enjoyed it as well. But I mean, Drago's awesome, and I've been very impressed by Jack so far. I didn't remember him being somebody that stood out to me, but I feel like so far he's been somebody that I've enjoyed a lot. So, always, I guess I'll be excited to see him anytime he comes up now. So, but yeah, solid match for sure. Like I said, kind of surprising results. Kind of surprising how they worked it. Kind of like Jenny said, a little bit more technical than you would think, considering the two guys. They you would have thought they would have flown around, but really,
Mhm.
like again, like Jenny said, that crossbody was pretty much the only thing that they did to the outside or off the top rope, really much at all. So, but yeah, solid match. We'll move from there to a Tejano package. He talks about being the youngest and longest reigning AAA Mega Champion. Says most people in his country have had to fight for everything that they've gotten. He's from a lucha family, but it was given nothing and earned everything he's ever accomplished, and no one will ever take that away from him. Talks about the beating he took at the end of season 1 from Chavo and his goons. Says they made a huge mistake pissing him off, and says that he promises he doesn't fight fair and he'll come back and take out Chavo and his goons, aka the crew. We then get Puma staring in a mirror. Katrina comes up behind him and asks who he's praying to, and asks if it's God. She says Conan prayed to God as the life drained from his body. His last words were "Forgive me." She wonders if he was talking about God forgiving him or forgiveness to Puma for failing him so miserably. She says it's sad because Conan would have loved to see what he's going to do to Pentagon next week. She then says maybe Puma will be the one to sacrifice someone to his master. So Schiff, before we get to the main event, what do you think of these couple of scenes?
Okay, so I love like the Tejano whooping at like. Is there random like luchadors like with just masks that are like down for ass whoopings? Can I like pay for them for like $15 an hour just to be like, hey, I'll beat your ass on this bar. Just fucking go with it.
So the other two didn't like that because there was a scene in the last episode where Cobra Moon kind of took out a bunch of masked luchadors, and they kind of weren't fans of that. So you like that?
Yeah, it's great. Like it's just so over the top. Like you when you first off, you're watching wrestling. Like, do you really believe someone's Irish whipping someone into the fucking ropes? Like, come on, I got a bridge to sell you and sell you anywhere in the world if you believe that. So
Hmm.
just seeing this stuff where they just lean into it is great. The one bad thing is like how he called out Chavo. I thought we were done with him, Logan.
Mhm.
You have something to
Fortunately
atone
not.
for. Um,
I never said we were done with them.
Maybe I just wished it. But I love how he said he doesn't fight fair and he's just like beating the shit out of people and he crushes the glass at the end. Like it's just
Mhm.
so dumb. And then Puma, and I said he looks sad because Conan is dead. R.I.P. Conan. Like he does look sad, and I know they're
Yeah.
never gonna let Ricochet Puma talk because he has more of a country accent than you, Logan. So really, nothing on that one.
Yeah, you're right.
Um,
I've told you that's why he doesn't talk before this.
yeah,
Yeah, his voice is ridiculous, and he
but
was
just the
sound.
last couple of times hearing him on Raw, and he sort of got rid of that accent. That accent was probably thick as shit back in the day.
He's from Kentucky. He's not
Yeah.
from Mexico. So
Why'd you sound like Jamie Noble? Oh,
I don't
come
know.
on, baby. Come on, baby.
Come on, idiot. Go ahead, Jenny.
Sorry. But
Or were you
Katrina,
done? Sorry.
sorry, but Katrina being the fucking spiteful, and she was like, Conan was praying as Conan was dying in the casket. So they buried Conan alive. Like Jimmy
Yeah.
Hoffa. All right, I'm done now.
Oh God, Jenny, go ahead.
Yeah, the Tejana video took me out. Like I was not expecting like a little mini roadhouse or some shit in the middle of
Mhm.
this episode. Like at first it's kind of typical. Like he's like on a farm doing cowboy things. He rips a log in half. That looks cool. And then they just shift to the bar and he just beats the shit out of these guys. And it's crazy good. Like it's really a fun fight. And then I really love the ending scene there where he just crushes the glass in his hand. So,
Mhm.
very well done on that. And then, Katrina has a way with words.
Mhm.
The way she speaks is so interesting, and she she tells a story, and like she has an aura. She's just very good at like sneaking up on people, dropping some shit on them, and you know sneaking out. She's like
Mhm.
she's perfect. She's amazing. The details about Conan's last words, um, and the casket was just incredible. I wasn't expecting that sort of detail either, but she does everything she can to fuck with your mind, and it was clearly getting to Puma. So this was very good.
It's kind of crazy that WWE whiffed on her as much as they did before this. But maybe this is kind of where she found her footing, and this is the
Hmm.
character that she was like born to play or whatever. So, but yeah, she seems like a home run in this role for sure. But I imagine if they had put her in the right scenario, that she might have could have succeeded there, but it just didn't work out. But yeah, just awesome stuff on both scenes for sure. But we'll go to our main event, which is the last luchador standing between Phoenix and King Cuerno. We start with a big strike exchange, eventually won by Phoenix, who hits a back handspring elbow. Striker asked Vamp if he was in a lot of these kinds of matches, aka the last luchador standing, and he says only when he was married. So apparently he had a lot of last luchador standings with his wife, so ex-wife that is. So yeah, just a ridiculous line and question from
I'm
Striker
glad
at
you
the end
caught
there.
that as
That
well.
was really hilarious. I was not
Whenever
expecting that out of
whenever
Vamp.
they say something that absurd, I try to write it down. So, but yeah, I had to point that one out. But we then get an awesome springboard Hurricane Rana by Phoenix. Cuerno then scores with a boot on a charge. He hits an uppercut and a drop kick to follow. Phoenix then drops on a charge and back drops Cuerno to the outside. Phoenix then completely whiffs on a suicide dive, makes a pretty sick thud. And then Cuerno takes advantage and kind of whoops his ass around the outside, including a sick whip into the guardrail. Makes a pretty
Hmm.
sick thud there as well.
Hmm.
Continues getting Phoenix continues getting beaten down, but keeps getting up no matter how much Cuerno's kind of beating his ass. Back in the ring, Cuerno whips him from corner to corner, but as he charges, Phoenix hits a super kick and follows that with an awesome springboard drop kick once again, and then another basement drop kick in the corner. With Cuerno on the outside, Phoenix then hits one of his ridiculous springboard corkscrew dives, and then after Cuerno gets up from the count, he gets back up and actually hits another one. So two ridiculous dives in a row. Back in the ring, Phoenix slams him and goes to the top. Cuerno recovers and kicks him from the top rope to the outside. He then hits the arrow from the depths of hell, which is this crazy charged up suicide dive, but he hits it through the corner, kind of towards the office. So it was an absolutely awesome spot, I thought. Cuerno then finds a ladder and kind of rams it into Phoenix's head. Cuerno then pulls out a table and tries to German suplex Phoenix through it, but Phoenix is able to slip out and hit a big super kick. The ladder is kind of leaned up onto Dario's office, and Phoenix starts to climb, where it's kind of propped. Well, it's Katrina's office now, but you know what I mean.
Hmm.
It's propped up on Katrina's office, and Cuerno starts to kind of follow him. Phoenix, of course, beats him to the top of the ladder, and then as Cuerno's kind of still climbing, Phoenix kicks the ladder over, and of course, Cuerno crashes through the table, and that is enough for the 10 count. So Phoenix beats King Cuerno in this non-title uh, last luchador standing match. So Jenny, what did you think of this one?
This was really fun. Great main event. I kind of knew who was going to win when they said it was non-title, but that's okay. It's still worth it. Um, that there is like sick move after sick move in this. You called him out, but that top rope Brana in the beginning was great. King Corno using what's around the temple, he throws him into the chairs at one point. He gets that ladder and knocks the fuck out of
Yeah.
Phoenix with it. That was awesome.
Yep.
Um, and then that double sick twisting dive that Phoenix pulls out is just when he hit it the first time, I was like, "Oh, that was great." And then he gets up and does it again. I was like, "Oh, that was badass." I think he added an extra rotation
Hmm.
on the second one, which is just amazing. Um, but I will say that all the counting got annoying
Yeah.
because
And they had him
after
like super mic too, so he was like very loud whenever he
yeah, and like King Corner wanted him counted after every fucking move.
hmm
Like hit him with a ladder, count, and I understand like I understand like they need a count because that's the point of the match, but do like 3 moves and then count maybe. I don't know, but it just I don't know. It really started, stop, and that's a problem for me in these kind of matches anyway. Um, at one point, Corno stops the ref's count, kicks Venus, and then gets the table. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You had the match won. So, but then we couldn't get that awesome ladder spot if we didn't do that. So that was great. I'm perfect finish for this. There's no way he was getting up from crashing through that table. Um, nice win for Phoenix. I really like this match, and I gave it 3 1/4 stars.
I gotcha. Schiff, before you give your thoughts, how many last Luchador standing matches have you had with Emily?
See, we've been together since 2010. A lot.
I gotcha. Okay, what
She
would you think
usually
of the match?
wins. She
Yeah, I
usually
got
wins. I'm usually out first.
good, good. What did you think of the match?
What was your rating,
I did 3 1/4.
Logan? What was yours?
I haven't given mine yet.
Okay, you blue balling me over here. So I need to know if I went above it or not. So I already went above Jenny's. All right. I thought Phoenix died when he dove to the outside to start of the match and landed on his back because King Cuerno moved. I was like, oh shit, like Phoenix is dead. No wonder he's hurt all the time now. Like, god damn. And like they let like there was a long time where King was just beating Phoenix's ass like all around that ring. But then Phoenix got a nice ray of hope and he hit like a nice missile drop kick. And then like I don't know what this thing's called, but it looks amazing. It's like a corkscrew dive over the top where he just spins a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know what the official move is. Looks amazing. He did that twice and got a 9 count. And then when like the ladder got into play with the table, I was like, something great is about to happen. My naive ass thought they were both going to get on top and he was going to throw him off of the office. But nope, Phoenix just like does like a bad guy's move and kicks him off the ladder, which I thought was like, I was like, what is this, Home Alone? This is amazing. And like he just like falls through, and like I was like, King has to be dead. Like if he would have got up there, I've been like, what is this, NXT main event? But no, he was dead. I went 4 stars on this.
Oh shit. Okay. Maybe I'm rating low. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
the counting did great on you, so I'd
Yeah.
understand that knocked
Yeah,
you
I
down a little
don't
bit.
disagree with what anyone thinks with it. Like unless like you were like 1 star, shit was terrible. But like I don't know, Jenny.
I don't know. I would probably go 3.5. I really enjoyed it as well. You know, 2 awesome guys. They really threw everything out there. All the crazy dives. The suicide dive by Cuerno towards the office was absolutely ridiculous. But like we all said, the kind of twisting, crazy dives that Phoenix did 2 of were absolutely absurd as well. So yeah, just awesome stuff. Really, really good main event to close the show in the ring, but we don't close the episode with that. We get one more scene. We get a final scene that's in a police precinct. We learn that Cortez Castro of the crew has been an undercover cop this whole time named
What?
Officer Reyes.
Was amazing. Was
Cap-
amazing. I was like, oh shit.
Captain Vasquez, who is the police captain in this scenario, makes it clear that the target of this whole operation is to take Dario Cueto down. Reyes says no one has seen him for months. She says he's getting a partner because he obviously can't handle it himself, and the partner is revealed to be Joey Ryan. She ends the episode by saying the ultimate mission, of course, again, is to bring Dario Cueto down. So, Schiff, what did you think of this one?
First off, amazing. Like I love they're just like we thought like first season they leaned into the cinematic shit beforehand. People thought cinematic stuff was created during COVID in 2020 and 2021. Nope, right here. And it's great. Having Cortez, who basically the crews turn into like the Usos with me, where I know now know the difference between them. The guy's a cop. I was like, holy shit. I even put in here the crew is narcs. I thought it was both of them. But they're looking for Dario. And then we have Joey Ryan show up, and I put in parentheses, he should be arrested by the cops. That's a whole nother issue. They're bringing in a bunch of names because this one, Joey Ryan was sort of at his peak here. So that's a pretty big get for him, like more on the underground underground wrestling scene, which we see more next episode where he's getting cheered the whole time in his match. And I love how they're both undercover and they're bringing down Dario Cueto, but like the guy who's Cortez is trying to be like, no, we need to look at like Mil Muertes. They're killing people, and they're like, no, we're just focused on Dario. So it's like we're getting cops involved. This feels great. Like I'm all in. Like we got a spaceman in this episode who it was we thought new to me and Jenny, but is an old character from a millennia ago. We got cops that are undercover here in the temple. This shit's great. Also, that cop might be accessory to murder because they definitely killed their third crew buddy. So that's all I'm saying. He's too deep. He's too deep.
All right, Jenny, what do you think?
That was an amazing recap. I loved it. I agree. This is such an interesting twist, and like nobody would have thought of that. Like this is great. And I did think about that. I almost went back, and I was like, wasn't Cortez at the murder of one of those guys on the crew? Like he is deep, deep undercover. But their captain is a real ball buster. So, but she is not having any nonsense about any monsters or anybody dying. She just wants Dario. So I'm like, what do they need from Dario? What do they have on him? What do they want from him? Like, is it related? I don't know. And I miss Dario. Like Katrina's amazing in that role that she has kind of taken over, but I need some Dario to come back. So
Right?
I didn't know who Joey Ryan was, so I just called him like
You
70s
don't need to
cop.
know who Joey Ryan is.
Yeah, okay.
um,
But his he had the 70s stash and he was like undercover and copying it up. So I don't know, it fit with what we were doing. So I was like, okay. Um very, very good cinematic scenes in this episode. And also I bumped up that last match to 3.5.
gotcha. Yeah, definitely a crazy scene to kind of get somebody exposed as an undercover cop there at the end. And Joey Ryan kind of was big on the independents at this point, um, but he's run into some trouble, we'll say,
Okay.
over the last 5 or so years. So um, uh, yeah, you shouldn't currently know who he is, I guess, but yeah, he was
Okay,
kind
good.
of a big star on the independents back in the day. All right, Jenny, what did you think of episode 3 that we just talked about?
This was really fun. Like all the cinematic episode or interludes, perfectly like paced throughout there. You kind of got like a couple scenes. You got a match, more scenes. So there's just a lot of story happening in this episode. Um, a fantastic main event, and the other matches were okay. And there's a couple of debuts that we got. So this was a lot to go through, but I enjoyed it. It was a great watch. Um, or do we rate these? I forget.
Yeah, out of 10, just whatever out of 10.
Let's go 8 out of 10.
Damn
Yeah,
right.
yeah, this was a strong episode for sure. But Chef, what do you think?
No, I just echoing what Jenny said. Like, we actually were speaking about this, and we were both looking forward to like the cinematic stuff more than like the matches.
Yep.
So it really like it shows how locked in they are. They seem to have found their groove with this. Hopefully, it stays. I'm really excited to see what the future brings. Not with this episode, but the whole rest of the season. The way they've started it off, they came off out of the gate. So I'll
Mhm.
give it to them with that. I'm going 8 out of 10 as well. It's just amazing.
Yeah, really strong episode. Like I said, it perfectly kind of balanced the cinematic and the matches. But yeah, like the cinematic scenes that happened in this one were pretty important. I think will be kind of season long kind of stories and season long kind of things that'll hang around for sure. So, but yeah, just an awesome episode. I definitely give it an eight as well, for sure. But we'll go from there to episode 4. We open with more highlights of Team Dysfunction's match from a couple weeks ago, and then Evil East's match against Mil Muertes. We then get some more. We pretty much get the exact same highlights from the previous week as well.
Mhm.
Um, they show Penta and Puma kind of saving Evil East and Penta breaking Mil's arm. We then open the episode with Evil East busting into Katrina's office. Katrina says, "Well, look who it is, the baddest bitch in the building." Evil East then says, "Damn straight, and she'd still be champ if it weren't for her disciples." Katrina then says she's lucky she's walking and that Mill showed her mercy. Evilise then says, then says, why doesn't Katrina let her and her boys show the disciples that same mercy? And when they are finished, they'll be lucky that all they do is take their belts back. Katrina then says, no automatic rematch clauses under her rule. And there is another trios team itching to make their mark, so they'll face them tonight. And then she'll think about giving them a shot at the disciples of death. Evilise then says, no matter how many obstacles she puts in their way, they'll get their belts back, and she will get her hands on Katrina. And when that happens, there will be no mercy. Katrina then licks the knife that she's kind of been holding, or the letter opener, whatever the fuck it is, that she's been licking or kind of twiddling around her fingers the whole time, and then she stabs it into the desk. So I'll stop there. Schiff, what do you think of this kind of opening scene between Evilise and Katrina?
You know, just let them fight. Like, I don't think Katrina can fight that well, but at least probably, I'd at least probably beat her ass. I can't say her name. Chicken Team Dysfunction would probably beat her ass. I do like how she says no automatic rematch clause, because that was a time when, a couple years before, we had Dave Batista saying every Friday on SmackDown, "I want my rematch for the WWE title," and it became like a meme. So I love how, like, they have to go through someone to get a rematch. Like, you got to fight your way back up, which I really
Mhm.
enjoy. Um, Hopefully, we do lead to them fighting. But I love how Katrina's trying to make, like, Lucha the Temple, which is already crazy. She's like, I want everyone to show no mercy. She was telling Cuerno last week to kill Phoenix. Like, she's like going, the most violent shit we've seen. So hopefully more people die, which is a weird thing to say, but it's how I feel.
I think you'll get your wish on that one, Shift. So, Jenny, what do you think of this opener?
This was really good. I like the delivery on baddest bitch in the building from Katrina or whatever she said. She also calls her little girl, which is
Yeah,
very
that's true.
condescending and rage inducing. Um, and yeah, I'm with Schiff. I like that they don't automatically get a rematch and they have to fight a match tonight with the trios team. So that's a good idea. And yeah, I put it down that she licked the knife, but when I was watching it just now, it is a letter opener. So that is because I was very concerned, like, you shouldn't be licking a knife,
Hmm.
Katrina. So that was better that it wasn't a knife.
She's
but
probably she's not one of those that I think would be too worried about uh, cutting herself for some reason. So
maybe not.
she,
Yeah.
she likes the taste of blood or
Yeah.
something to that effect. So.
She likes licking things, that's for damn sure.
Hmm. She probably has like tongue aids or something like that at this point from kind of spreading it all over the temple and shit.
Yeah.
Um, um, but we'll go from there. Vamp welcomes us in, hypes up Penta as he's kind of been doing the last few weeks. Really, really getting behind him and tells him that he actually tells us that he thinks he'll defeat Puma tonight in their match. So, yeah, really get behind Penta there. But we open with a match of Team Dysfunction versus the team that Katrina was talking about, which is going to be Chavo and the crew of Mr. Cisco and Cortez Castro.
Bernard,
Still gonna call him Cortez Castro in the temple, but if we ever get cinematic scenes, I'll call him Officer Reyes, of course.
Okay.
Um, but Cisco and Angelico start things. Cisco scores with a few quick strikes, but then Angelico gets two arm drags before Evilise gets tagged in. She comes in and scores with another arm drag, and Castro tags in. She kicks him twice, and then he shoves her down. He goes for a suplex, but she gets out of it and scores with some more kicks and knees. Gets a 2 count after those. She goes for an Irish whip, but Castro reverses it and nails a huge forearm before he tags in Chavo. Chavo then kind of grounds her down with some boots, gets her in the corner where they kind of rough her up in their corner. Um, Chavo then continues kind of toying with her, but she scores some kicks to his leg and then hits a super kick. Luckily for Chavo, he fell right back into a tag, but she also gets a tag to Havoc. Havoc then comes in with two big clotheslines and a standing moonsault, hits a back handspring elbow. Cisco then reverses a whip to the corner, but Havoc gets a boot up on the charge and goes to the middle rope. Castro is then able to distract the ref, and Chavo trips him up. The crew then hit their double team series of moves in the corner. Uh, I think Striker calls it something, but I didn't happen to hear what the name was. But Cisco then continues to wear down Havoc from there. Havoc then breaks out of neck crank and gets stuck in the crew's corner, but he's somehow able to fight them all off and then gets the tag to Angelico. Two big clotheslines by Angelico, and then he single handedly takes out the entire crew in Chavo. Team Dysfunction then all dive out onto their opponents. Angelico gets him back in the gets Castro back in the ring, hits a big leaping knee and a top rope double stomp on Castro for the win. And then Chavo after the match gives Cisco and Castro a good bitching section until Tejano comes out and takes out everyone but Chavo as Chavo kind of slinks away. So, Schiff, what do you think of this opener?
Chavo sucks. Um, my notes is how the fuck is Chavo back? So I can't say her name.
Just call her Evil. That's what I call her in my notes.
Yeah,
Eva Lise.
Eva Lise. Thank
There
you.
you go.
Just got her ass kicked. You know, they do a good job. Surprisingly, she doesn't have a broken foot this time, so I'm glad to see
Oh,
that's
just wait.
healed.
Just wait.
Oh, great. Son of Havoc was getting kicked by the crew, and Stryker said that will give him some ingrown hairs.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
Yeah, I hit him with the Tim Capel patented do what?
Do what?
And the Son of Havoc was getting this beat down. We got the hot tag to Angelico. And I will say, like, Angelico did a little Hardy's type move where he jumped off of Cortez's back and hit a knee to Cisco, which I thought was really cool. Then they did the triple dive, and Angelico hit the coup de grace, basically, and it was over. I went 2.5 stars on this. I like Team Dysfunction. I don't really care about, like, I care about Cortez now. I don't care about Chavo. So it's a real conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got you. Jenny, what did you think?
So, the Chavo of it aside, I ended up liking this. Thought the crew did a pretty good job at isolating Evilise when it was her kind of big spots. They cut the ring off from her a lot and had her in the corner and worked her over. So, I thought that was really good. And then, Son of Havoc had a really great hot tag around about the middle of the match where he dove like across the ring and got the tag. So the crowd really liked that, and I really liked it. I really liked the cool triple move dive or whatever they did over the top rope and onto the floor. The timing was like pretty good on that. So something like that is kind of hard to pull off with 3 people. So I thought they did a really good job with that spot. And it was a fun match. It's nice to see this team working so well. They don't seem snipey at each other, they don't seem that dysfunctional now. They seem pretty functional.
We might have to come up with a new name, which
Yeah.
until Logan said last episode that was the name we came up with, I thought that was their team name. So
No, I definitely made that up. I
That's
just didn't want
definitely
to have.
their name in my notes.
Yeah.
my name too. I always call them Team Dysfunction.
Oh yeah, I always put Team Dysfunction versus whatever. So, if they fight the Disciples of Death, I usually put Team Dysfunction versus the Putty Men.
Same.
So I thought most of my attention was focused on Team Dysfunction. Noticing them, the crew and Chavo was just kind of basic. So, it was a well worked match, and I liked the ending. I liked the Tejano run in, kind of continuing with their feud with Chavo. So that was good. I went 2 3/4 on it.
Yeah, I went 2.5 like Shift did. But yeah, I like the Tejano coming in and getting a little bit of revenge back at the crew and Chavo there at the end. So, but yeah, I've always said, Sean complains about the crew a lot, which they're not great. I won't say they are, but they're really good bases kind of in these
Yes.
matches, so other people can kind of get their shit in. Like the crew shit's not all that impressive. It's a lot of submissions, a lot of grinding, stuff like that. Not the most exciting stuff, but they're really good bases for these guys that can do this acrobatic and crazy shit. So I think they're good for a match kind of like this. So I think they have their role. Some people don't even like them in that role necessarily, I guess. But I thought they played their role really well in this one, and I thought Team Dysfunction as always looked super good. So definitely glad they stuck together. I think they really put across that they on commentary that they've really become a unit at this point,
Hmm.
and it showed in the match that they were kind of always on the same page. So I'm glad that they pointed that out on commentary as well. Um, but we'll move from there to our next little package. Is for Johnny Mundo. He says he's the biggest star in Lucha Underground, but he hasn't been treated as such. Complains about being the opener at Ultima Lucha, but said he had the best match, so who cares? Said he should be champion, and he's good at taking what he wants. So he wants to be champion, so he's going to take the title from Mil Muertes. But then he talks about how Cage is kind of in his way, how he's a big dumb idiot that thinks he's a machine. Mundo then says he's not just a man, but he's the man of Lucha Underground. Says if Cage wants to stand in his way, he'll take him like he'll make him like all machines and make him obsolete. It's his world, and everyone else is just living in it. We then cut to a scene where Joey Ryan is talking to Cortez Castro or Officer Reyes, whatever you want to call him in this scenario. He accidentally calls him Reyes at one point, and he says, you can't call me that here. Uh, Ryan then says he's always been a better cop than he is, and it's because he gets the job done. Says they need to convince the people here that they are luchadors, and Castro is doing a crappy job of that. Castro then says he can do a better job by whooping Ryan's ass here right now. Ryan then says, don't forget that they are on the same team, and if he wants to know how it's done, to watch his match next, and he'll make short work of his opponent. So, Jenny, what do you think of these couple scenes?
The Mundo one was pretty basic. He does this annoying thing where he goes fact and then
Oh
says
yeah, he
whatever.
he pulled the Tyson kid and
The
did
Tyson
facts
Kid,
over.
that's exactly what I wrote. Fucking
Mhm.
Tyson Kid shit. No,
You can
thank
never
you.
escape it, Jenny.
No, I don't want it at all. Like, and everything he said was like bullshit. Shit wrestlers have said for forever. Like he was not. You know, this was not a great one. I didn't enjoy it.
Mm,
The On the other hand, I really like in the Cortez scene that detail where he says, "Don't call me that here." Like reminding you what their situation is, and
mm,
it's like it was a little thing, but I thought it was kind of a great detail in this scene.
mhm,
I actually thought I called him his douche partner because I didn't know who Joey Ryan was. So
mhm,
um, he was really good in the scene. I thought, like challenging him, like saying, this being a douche basically. So he was really eating up this scene, and I ended up really liking it. And he calls it good old fashioned police work at the end,
mhm.
which was kind of funny. So a well done scene.
Yeah, I always thought Joey Ryan kind of looked like Adam Devine with a mustache.
A little bit, I can see
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
kind of acts like him too.
yeah, for sure. Chef, what do you think?
All right, so I didn't talk about the Tejano part where he ran down and beat the crew. Hopefully, Tejano like hangs him, and that's like the end of this life. Um, the Johnny Mundo stuff, like we talked about this last season. He just feels so out of place. This is not on the uh same page at all. But like when after the Attitude Era ended and we still had like Austin and Rock hanging around when like the new guys were coming up. This
Hmm.
is sort of what it feels like with Mundo. It's like they signed him because they thought he would be this big star for them. He really hasn't worked out to be like that, and it's just he feels like he's like a man without a country, sort of.
Mm.
And if they go into this like movie star egotistical thing, it might be something I can get behind. But it's like, I mean, some of them were funny when he says he shouldn't have been in the opener match, and I was like, well, I kind of agree with that. Also, him calling Cage a big dumb machine is amazing because anyone that
Mm.
calls Brian Cage a big dumb machine, it or big dumb anything, it always reminds me of the best Ricky Starks tweet of all time, where Brian Cage asked where the Philly street fight was, and Ricky Starks replied with "In Philly, you big dumb bitch," and it's legit
I
made me
definitely
lose.
thought of you when he said that. That's
Yes,
all.
thank you. Like that's like my favorite thing. Like
Hmm.
I I think about that tweet way too much, just
It is great.
of how to make you just lose respect for a wrestler when it's like, damn, that's bad. Joey Ryan and Cortez hanging out, like he's gonna blow his cover already, dude. Like he's been working this beat for a year, and Ryan's gonna come and ruin it already. God, I hope Ryan.
Yeah,
gets
he's like, "Hey,
pregnant.
Reyes," and he's like, "You can't call me that, you dumb bastard."
Yeah, and like hopefully they feed Ryan to Matanza.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we'll see. But yeah, I'm with Jenny. I kind of like that that they point out that you can't call him, Reyes, in the temple, and all that. They can't blow their cover and all that good stuff. But yeah, I really don't think that they've said what his name is yet, so I understand why you wouldn't have known what his name was or who he was at this point, Jenny.
Right.
But we do get his name introduced here as has a match. He is taking on Cage that we just also talked about. So it's Joey Ryan versus Cage. Of course, Joey Ryan comes out with the baby oil and stuffs the lollipop in his pants, I think, at some point. So, no, he actually doesn't. He just says the baby oil, but he squirts the baby oil in his pants. That's what the oil was. But they lock up to start, and Cage gets the advantage. But then Ryan throws the lollipop in his face, and then scores with some strikes in the corner. Cage then grabs him and throws him into the corner and hits him with some punches. Cage then gets a whip reversed into the corner, but he bounces off and nails a big clothesline. Cage then hits an arm drag to his knee. He then hits a running uppercut and whips Ryan across the ring, but Ryan moves and Cage goes shoulder first into the post. Ryan then scores with a drop kick and continues working the arm. Ryan then starts taunting Cage with some punches, and then goes for a power slam, but Cage's arm is behind his back, but Cage is able to hit a power slam of his own instead and follows that with two clotheslines and a drop kick. Ryan then gets another boot up in the corner, but comes out and gets hit with a twisting power slam. He then goes for a middle rope moonsault, but misses as Ryan rolls out of the way. Ryan then hits a spine buster, but only gets two. Ryan then goes.
Spine buster was nice, by the way.
Yeah, it was a good spine buster for sure. Ryan then goes to work the arm, but Cage turns it into a pump handle face buster. That only gets two as well. Cage then goes for the discus clothesline, but Ryan ducks and then hits three successive super kicks, two to the face and one to the knee, but still only gets two on that. He goes for another super kick, but Cage catches him and hits a power bomb to his knee, which was absolutely sick. And then he hits him with a Steiner screwdriver to get the win. I know Shift popped for that one.
Damn right sure. I did. You know me too well.
Yeah. But after the match, Mundo comes out and tries to take out Cage, but is ultimately unsuccessful as Cage ends up hitting Weapon X on Mundo. So, Shift, what do you think of this match and the kind of post-match attack?
Okay. I really like this match. Like, you got to do like the Benoit stuff with Joey Ryan. I mean, he didn't murder people, but you know what I'm saying.
This was shockingly competitive, though. I was not expecting it to be.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna make Joey Ryan into a joke, but like you can hear the crowd behind him, like I said, because he was based with PWG in the time. Was in Reseda, so like that's close to where I think the arena is. Yeah, Boyle Heights is. Thank you. They like Cage and him had a really good match. Like I love how Joey worked the arm for a little bit to try to take that away from him. That didn't work. And I just love Cage hitting like these power moves. Like they look great. And it's a sad thing that like AEW really doesn't do anything with him. I know you talk about that on the cross up, Logan, but like it's just so frustrating. I will say there was a nice part where Cage missed a discus clothesline and got hit with a super kick that was very nice. And then Cage was like, nope, and power bombed the dude onto his knee, which is like had to hurt like a bitch. Like
my
no way
spine would never recover if somebody did that to me.
I would just be like, pin me. I'm not getting back up. Yeah. Like, and then he hit him with the Steiner screwdriver, which is like a disgusting move, which needs to be used more.
Yes.
And for the match, I went 2 3/4, and then Mundo came in and speared Cage and said, "Welcome to Slam Jam, bitch." I don't know how you missed that, Logan. It was the greatest thing.
He said Slam Town, actually, but yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Slam Jam, and I was like, the WCW Slam Jam? But then, like, Cage then, like, turned the tide on Mundo and hit Weapon X, and then Cage says, "I'm not a man, I'm a machine."
Hmm. I fucking love Weapon X. I love that move. I wish you would hit it all the time.
No,
Uh,
he needs to use the Steiner screwdriver.
well,
Like
that too. Yeah, that's
now
true.
that I've seen that, you can't go away from it.
I
Mm-hmm.
think he actually won a match in I think AEW last week. He hit the Steiner screwdriver as well. So really awesome to see him bust that out back here as well. But Jenny, what did you think?
Wow, this was a very unexpected match and kind of weird for me to grade. But I ended up really liking it. I didn't expect Joey Ryan to show up like this, especially against Cage. I thought it was going to be like a pretty simple squash,
Hmm.
especially after Joey tries to use his lollipop as a weapon, and he had already squirted baby oil down his pants. So I'm like, just not set up to expect a serious match from this man.
Hmm.
Um, but boy, they pulled it out. That the moves were impactful, especially Cage's. He is unreal
Hmm.
sometimes in just the crispness of the moves, the way that he moves around the ring for such a big guy is always fun to watch. Um, yeah, Joey got decent offense and more than I expected. So I did 2 3/4 on this. I thought the Mundo attack post match was pretty good. Even though he, like Shiv said, he's just so out of place in the promotion that it's what it is. But it continues their feud at least, so we got that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Cage, the stuff he can do is just unreal for his size, just the agility that he has. But yeah, just the crispness with which he does a lot of the power slams and power bombs and stuff. Like I said, I'm sure that power bomb to the knee didn't really hurt that bad as much as much as it seemed like it did. But
Hmm.
like looking at it, I would think I would never walk again if somebody hit that on me.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I'm gonna
but
do that
yeah.
at the next Mania tailgate.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the wheelchair I'm going to ride in after that. Anyways, but yeah, Cage is just he's so good at this point. I mean, he's even still good today. He may have lost a little bit with just age and stuff, but yeah, he's still awesome. He's awesome at this point for sure. Really killing it in this promotion, and hopefully he feuds with Mundo and kind of ends up in a higher position after that, kind of back towards the title picture. So we'll see kind of where they go from here. But we go to another scene. We get El Dragon as Tekka Jr., which I actually don't think they've named him yet, but that's what his name ends
Hmm.
up being. He is training with Rey Mysterio. And I'll say El Dragon as Tekka Jr. is actually Rey Mysterio's cousin in real life or nephew or something like that. They're related somehow. So they're actually real family in real life. So, but Mysterio asks Azteca if he knows what they are training for, and Azteca says war real loud like that. Ray then says he must tell him the story of his mentor. Talks about Dario's father and the original Azteca formed a partnership with a goal in mind to find the descendants of all the 7 Aztec tribes and have them do battle once again, but this time as luchadors. But Cueto got clouded by the dark side of the legend and wanted to appease the old gods by making sacrifices, including his own son Matanza, and he actually let a god inhabit Matanza's body. Azteca and Cueto then parted ways, making a treaty that neither would step foot on either's territory again. Cueto sealed that treaty with some dark magic. Says Azteca knew he was sacrificing his body by entering the temple, and then tells Azteca Jr. To not look for revenge, but a way to unite the tribes. So, Jenny, what did you think of this Rey Mysterio Azteca Jr. package?
Wow, I mean, it was a lot, like a big info dump, but it
Yeah.
was very vital information because this lays out everything that we've been seeing and we've heard, phrases, we've seen the cinematic scenes, and this is just Ray telling the story, which I really appreciated the setting of it. There's candles lit, that he's like really telling them the story of what happened, and I was glad to hear it. So it's fascinating. I love the thought of Dario making this pledge to bring back the descendants of the seven tribes, but then being clouded by dark magic. All this stuff, it just makes sense in the scope of the story that we've seen so far. And so I thought this was just really informative, and it gave us a lot of information that we needed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got some very definite Master Splinter vibes from Ray here.
Yes.
But Shiv, what do you think?
We finally see Rey Mysterio. He's training some guy, and he's not training his son. Typical deadbeat dad behavior.
He's training somebody else's son.
Yeah,
Uh,
like
What a piece of shit.
we wonder why Dominic's the way he is. Look no further. Um, I did love we talking about the seven tribes again. I'm so excited. We see Dario's father was a piece of shit too, apparently. And then we see or Dario's dad got obsessed with the dark side, which I was like, oh, dark magic, come on, we're doing great right here. And he sacrificed his son to become Matanza. So it's like, damn, Dario and his dad sucks. And Ray tells the guy he needs to unite the seven tribes, but we already know one of the tribes are at least bad because we saw Cobra Lady. I
mhm.
can't think of her name. Thought Cobra Rosa. So
Go Moon.
okay, sorry. My apologies. Cobra Moon. And I'm all in. I want to see them unite the seven tribes like it's the fucking Infinity Stones, and then we
Hell
go
yeah.
after Matanza like fucking Avengers Endgame right here.
Yeah, that would be that would be incredible when and if that happens for sure. They are in fact cousins, by the way. I confirmed that while y'all were
Okay.
talking. But yeah, El Dragon Azteca is real life cousin of Rey Mysterio, so they have that
Oh,
family
so he
connection as
was
well.
he was being a follower to him, but not Dominic.
So the
That's what
funny
I
thing
hear. That's what
is
I hear.
yeah, true. So the funny thing is that guy's dad is Rey Mysterio Senior, but Ray is older than this guy, so he got to be Rey Mysterio Jr. So it's actually really funny that they kind of paired them off
Mhm.
together
Mhm.
like that, because really, if you think about it, this guy should be Rey Mysterio Jr., but this guy's been established and been in the business for forever with that name. So it's kind of funny if you think about it. But we will move from there to our main event. It's going to be Pentagon Jr. versus Prince Puma. We start with kind of a shoving match between the two, and then they kind of use their agility to kind of reverse each other's attack back and forth. Puma eventually is able to score with a Hurricane Rana to the outside, starts to go for a dive, but Penta obviously will move, and Puma kind of does a backflip and poses in the middle of the ring instead of diving out onto him. Puma then tries to catch him coming in, but Penta trips him up and pulls him out and hits a big chop and throws him into the post. Penta is then back in and kicks him kicks him right in the ass. I said, and then hits one of his big overhand chops that kind of reverberates around the temple. He then kicks his leg out, goes for another chop, but Puma moves and hits his own chop, and then bounces off the ropes, but gets hit with another power bomb to the knee. So that's the second time we've seen that spot tonight. But that's only good for two. Backup Penta hits a couple of forearms and goes to bounce off of the ropes, but Puma follows and catches him with a cutter. Puma then hits a shoulder to the gut in the corner and then kicks him in the face through the turnbuckle pad. So he kind of hopped out to the outside and kicked the turnbuckle pad into his face. He then hits a springboard clothesline that knocks Penta to the floor. Puma then hits a twisting moonsault dive to the outside and rolls him back in, but only gets a 2 count. They then trade reversals back and forth until Penta hits a backstabber. Penta then goes for a pump handle driver, but Puma is able to get out, reversing it into an arm drag. Puma then goes for a springboard moonsault, but Penta catches him in midair with a drop kick, which was an absolutely sick spot. They then trade strikes back and forth until Penta hits a super kick to the gut, goes for the package pile driver, but Puma is able to slink out and hit a spinning back kick. They then or he then follows that up with a Northern Light suplex and kind of does he kind of rolls through it and transitions into a deadlift vertical suplex, which was just an absolute feat of strength that is incredible. But that still only gets two. He then goes up and goes for a springboard 450, but Penta gets the knees up and turns it into a roll up, but that only gets two as well. Penta then hits a super kick and a package pile driver. He doesn't go for the pin, but instead does this like surfboard stretch that he actually eventually turns into a pin. But Puma is able to kind of get his shoulders up as Puma's shoulders are on the mat. So kind of a controversial ending, but Puma actually ends up getting the win. And then after the match, Puma attacks and super kicks the ref, actually knocks him out. And then Puma scores with a kick and goes for the arm break, but he decides to let him live another day. So, Jenny, what do you think of this main event match?
Wow, another good main event. Here, I, there's so much chemistry here with these guys, and they're so smooth, fluid. Everything flows. It's beautiful to watch. Um, but it also has this edge of brutality to it. And Puma is less on the selling in this, and definitely more on the offensive than he typically is. I am used to see him bumping around quite a bit more than he did in this match. So I thought he stepped it up quite a bit in the offensive
Mm-hmm.
side of this. Um, Good kicks and chops in the middle of something that you think would be a little bit more high flying. They do give you, some high flying moves in there to mix it up. Um, and that sick package pile driver on Puma, I just thought was going to just destroy him. That was amazing. Um, Finish was interesting. I definitely saw Puma's shoulders off the mat, but I,
Mm-hmm.
I had my eyes on him and not on Penta. So I should have actually went back and looked at it, but I just took their word for it there. But um, an interesting finish, but a great match. And also I noticed that Vampiro, whenever they would show him and Striker he always like had his hands touching. He was hitting or touching Striker. Like every time he talked to him, he just that guy that he can't stop fucking touching you while he's talking to you and like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you're like,
He's like,
bitch, I'm
"Hey, man, did
watching
you see that? Did you see that?"
yeah, like bitch, I'm watching the match. I saw it, okay? So I noticed that oddly.
Yeah,
But yeah, I like this one and I did 3.5.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Chef, what do you think?
I thought of something I couldn't say. I'll tell y'all later.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
so I really like this match. We find out Puma is a descendant of the ancient Aztecs. So that's 3 of the families that we've noticed so far.
Mhm.
So we got 4 left. I'm still upset they only gave him 10 minutes, to be honest with y'all. I do like the when Pentagon hit the shoulder tackle and Puma kipped up immediately. I was like, oh,
Yeah, that
we're
was
getting
cool.
we're getting one of these matches. And then Pentagon makes him pay for it because he then chops the fuck out of Puma. I mean, that shit reverberated like an earthquake in San Francisco.
Mhm.
Um, and then like a sick backstabber from Penta. I love like the European uppercut, and then Puma tried the moonsault off the rope, and Penta hit him with a drop kick, which I love that move. It's done a lot now, but it never stops making me smile. I love Puma reversing now the package pile driver, and then like Pentagon hitting the package pile driver and then the surfboard to like. I really think Stryker did a really good job on the call where he
Mhm.
said, "Oh, he compressed his neck and now he's stretching him out." I'm like, "Damn, that's actually pretty good, buddy." Like, I fault you for all the dumb shit you say 95% of the time, but 5% of the time you have that good nugget, like me, pretty much. So and then Puma reversed it, and like that's how we got the win. I was like, what an ending. And I was like, oh, he got his shoulders up at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and it reminded me, it's not the same as this, but of course I'm gonna say this, but it was like 1989 when Sting and Great Muta had these matches, and they did a double pin sort of like that, but they both had their elbows down at the same time. It wasn't the same way with the surfboard, but that's what it reminded me of. So we got that, and can I talk about the post match here?
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry. I loved
Yeah,
how
yeah,
then Puma and Pentagon still fought, and then Puma got him and showed that he could have broke Penta's arm. And I'm like, are we gonna see like a little bit of evil Puma? I'm here for it. I'm here for it, Puma. Also, I just thought of something. If Puma gets another manager, they should call him Timon.
yeah. Oh my god, that does not happen. I'll go ahead and disappoint you.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Damn
Uh,
it! I
I
would have.
I also noticed that the camera focused on Vampiro and he had this look of disgust on his face at the
mhm.
end of this. So
Ooh, that's
he
very true,
Yeah.
Jenny.
yeah, he did not enjoy this match and I just saw the ending again. Yeah, Penta just fucked up. His shoulders were on the mat, and Puma
Yeah, he
just
lays flat for sure.
yeah, he does. I'm like, that's on you, bro. That's on you.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, this is really good.
You have anything else you want to say, Schiff?
I went 3 3/4 on it. I was really blown away.
Yeah, I went 3.5 like Jenny. I definitely thought they did a lot in this match and killed it like they always do. But knowing what I know, I think they probably have a better match down the line. So I'll leave it at 3.5 for now. But yeah, just really strong stuff. I haven't asked y'all this, but what do y'all think of Mill and his throne? Schiff, what do you think of him like sitting over the temple like
I
he
already
did?
told you it's like Mortal Kombat in this bitch. Like,
Oh yeah, you
yeah,
did mention that.
I'm
Yeah,
down for it. I'll reiterate it with Shang Tzu. I know his name now.
Shanks on.
Saying Sean. Sorry, I'm down for it. Like, and when he comes down, it's gonna mean something.
Mhm.
So I'm waiting for him to come down. I know he destroyed Evilise. I got it.
There you go.
He destroyed Evilise in the first match, but we really haven't seen him where the dude has the easiest job. He's like fucking Brock Lesnar up there, getting paid all his money and not doing anything. I'm down for it.
I got you. Jenny? What do you think of his throne and him kind of sitting atop the temple, looking down at his kingdom?
I dig it a lot too. I like when they showed the camera that's mounted over his shoulders, so you kind
Hmm.
of get his view of the ring, which is
Yep.
is kind of great. I wonder if he gets bored sitting there, or like if the people around him like try to talk to him, or if he said, I'm just like, eh, I wonder if it's kind of tedious to sit there for the whole fucking show,
Hmm.
or if he enjoys it. I don't know. Those were some of the thoughts I had about him sitting up there. But
I,
he looks amazing.
I imagine if anybody tries to talk to him, he just kind of grunts at him, doesn't really say
Probably so.
words. Just kind of goes.
I would be like, "You're so hot. You're so hot.
Can I touch your abs, please?
Here's
Then he,
my room key."
then he takes his mask off, and you're like, keep it
You could have met
Yeah,
him. You could
baby,
have
you
met him
keep
in
that
Philly,
mask.
Jenny. You
I know
missed the
I should have.
opportunity.
I know.
We survived an earthquake instead.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
true.
Caused by you, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
As
running up the
the people
steps.
may know. We'll we'll go from there. We have one more scene, as of course, kind of like we did last episode, but we get a scene where Sexy Star is running back frantically, obviously distressed. She's running into the temple. She runs into the Mac. The Mac asks what's wrong with her. She says just Moth. Mac then, assuming she means Marty the Moth, says I'll kill him. But then she then corrects him and says not him, her, and just points to something. And we get Mac kind of looking at the camera and has like a shocked face. So obviously a family member of Marty the Moth, but we do not see who she is. But we kind of when Mac makes the kind of shocked face, we go to black. So um, that ends the episode. So Schiff, I'll stick with you. What do you think of the episode, and what do you think of this final scene?
Episode was amazing. I give it a step down. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. To
Yeah.
be honest, a little bit of a step down. Did not have an Iron Man Power Ranger going from a millennia ago to now, so that loses something with me. I do like how they're doing a good job with like leaving us wanting more for next week, as we've seen like these two big reveals. I will say, I kind of forgot about Sexy Star. I was like, why does Elise have a
I have
mask
a
on?
mask on.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell she got a mask on for?
Not all the women are the same, Schiff. You sexist bastard. I'm just
I
kidding.
know, right? I saw the blonde hair and her running drunkenly, and I was like, sorry, I thought she broke her foot again.
Oh God.
But no, it's very interesting and like a nice little thing. Is like, where's he at? Like Mac coming out and saying that. Who, like, you're right. Like Willie Mack is awesome. Like,
Hmm.
why he's not in a major company? It seems like a miss, but he's very
Yep.
charismatic. But I'm interested to see what happens. Sadly, it's not going to be our episode, Jenny, so we're gonna have to wait for that.
Yeah.
But no, it was a hell of an episode. I'm really looking forward for season 2. Like, they've done a good job. Like, all the big names sort of last year, some are still there, some are gone. But like, I'm more excited for season 2 than I was season 1.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it in our chats. We lost about 7 or 8 people, but none of them were like people that we were super sad to lose. I think there might have been 1 or 2 that we were kind of like, oh, that's unfortunate. But for the most part, it was people like even Puma. Puma is much better off without Conan. So Conan's gone,
Yes.
obviously. So I think in the just the 4 episodes we've watched so far, presented way better. I think he doesn't have the pressure of the title as well either. So, but having Conan not with him has definitely upgraded his status for me for sure. Just watching through the first season. But Jenny, what do you think of the episode? What do you think of that last scene with Sexy Star?
I really liked that last cinematic scene. It had like horror movie vibes because she's like running frantically down the hallway, and then Big Mac gets to Big Mac. Is that what I'm calling him now?
Sure.
Okay, Big Mac gets to make his like scary face at the camera. So it was good. You know Star was very believable that she was very scared, and so I thought they did it well. I'm very curious about. In my mind, there's like a giant moth chasing her, like a literal moth. Um, so uh, that's something. But across the episode, I thought that we had a little bit better matches this time as opposed to the last episode. But overall, the cinematic scenes were a little bit less, so it kind of balanced out. Better matches, and um, we got that stupid Johnny Mundo video we had to put up with. So, um, but I did really enjoy the Rey Mysterio storytelling vibe, and then that ending one too. So I'm gonna go 7.5.
Yeah, like Schiff said, it was a step down. Just I think the cinematic scenes, like you just said, were kind of better in the first one. The matches were definitely, I think, better in the second one as well, like you said. But I think we really enjoyed the cinematic scenes in the first episode, so that kind of carried that for me. But I would go 7.5 as well. But yeah, just two really strong episodes to start the season for this team. I don't it's been a minute since we recorded that first episode, so I don't really know if we were super high on those first couple episodes. I think I was, but I don't think Sean particularly was.
Going off memory, it was Sean and Jacob were more in the middle. You were a
Mhm.
little bit higher. Like I think
Yeah,
you topped out at like a 6. I want to say.
yeah, yeah. But these definitely get you excited for the season. It tells a lot of stories. The in-ring action is awesome. So this one definitely, like Shiv said, this one definitely has you looking forward to watching the next one for sure. Which I get to do, and y'all don't. So I'm just kidding. But we'll move from there to some awards. Shiv, what would you have as your match of the night?
I'm going with Puma and Pentagon. Sorry, I just died there, but Puma and Pentagon.
No, you're good.
Tanza attacked me. Okay.
You're good. Jenny, who would you have as your match of the night?
I agree with Puma and Penta.
Yeah, I went Puma and Penta as well. Jenny, what would be your moment of the night?
A lot of stuff to choose from, but I got to give it to my boy Aerostar taking off like Iron Man in the night 1,000 years ago. That was awesome.
I got you. Shift, what about you?
Cortez being a narc, being a cop. That shit blew my mind. Or Reyes, sorry.
No, you can call him whatever. It's either one. I went with something in the temple. I went with Cage kind of taking out Mundo, kind of reestablishing himself as the as kind of a main event player. But we'll go to cinematic scene from there. That is where I picked Castro kind of revealing himself as an undercover cop. May not be the most like it may not be like the biggest star doing something, but it's a big storyline to start the season. It really,
Mhm.
really is going to tell a story throughout the season. That whole thing. So I think it's more that it's important. Maybe that not it wasn't like the greatest thing ever, but um, uh, Jenny, what would you have as your cinematic scene?
I'm going to give it to the Ray storytelling scene because just a lot of good info that we needed.
Yeah, I got you. Chef, what about you?
The millennial one ago. Like that's amazing. We had 3 different answers. That
Yeah.
shows how great these 2 episodes
Mhm.
were, where we're not agreeing like, oh, we had nothing to pick. Like we each like went different ones. Me and Jenny were like I was the inverse for Jenny's best part, and she chose the Ray one, which is great in its own self. Like they're nice little back-to-back scenes, like if you want to catch up what's going on.
Yeah.
And you're suck, Logan, but it's fine.
Sorry.
I'm
I,
kidding. I'm kidding.
I was say I just think it was a really important scene because I think that's a story that'll definitely last the length of the season for sure.
Oh,
Mhm.
1000%.
But Schiff, I'll stick with you since you have such better awards than me. Who were your top 3 and your MVP?
top 3: Pentagon and Puma. No, Phoenix for winning that match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Puma for winning,
Mm-hmm.
and my boy Cortez. That's right. And MVP is Cortez. Probably the only time it's ever gonna happen. It's probably gonna be a shit take when people listen to this. Like, why are you doing that? But I was so blown away. Like, they went away a part I never thought possible.
Gotcha. Who would be your MVP out of those 3?
Cortez.
Okay,
It's
I got
the
you.
only time he's ever gonna win
Really?
it.
You're going with it?
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
I'm all
funny.
in, Jenny. Like,
That's
listen,
amazing.
I don't get real excited about much anymore with stuff. That's a whole nother podcast problem.
Yeah.
But with that, I was like, God damn, I might have to watch these episodes. I didn't, but I might have to.
on
Like,
the couch, on the couch with Scott Shifflett.
Pretty much.
coming to the backbone. Jenny, who would be your top 3 in your MVP?
All right, I'm gonna go Phoenix and Puma, and then I'm gonna do Katrina because I loved her scenes. I think she's used well, and she's memorable in this.
Yeah.
So, for MVP, I'm gonna go with Puma.
Nice.
Gotcha. Yeah. I went with Puma for MVP as well, but I did Puma, Phoenix, and I really thought Angelico did really well in that
Yeah.
trios match. I thought he really stood out for me in that one, so I'm gonna give him a shout out for sure. But yeah, Puma is who, like I said, ever since. I mean, I know we're only 4 episodes deep, and I think he's only had a couple of matches, but he's been presented miles better since Conan's kind of been off his back. So yeah, I definitely thought he stood out the most in these episodes. And Penta, you could throw Penta in there too. He was really good in that final match as well. So you could have chosen a whole different 3 people, and I would have probably been like, yeah, you're right, they were awesome too. So, but yeah, just really good performances all around in cinematic scenes and in the ring. Just great, couple great episodes for sure. But we'll go to plugs. Jenny, what you got?
All right. Well, you can find me over on the North South Connection on Wednesdays. A couple different shows over there. Exposition is an X-Men podcast going through the original series and all the films. And Talking Docs is with you, Logan, and our friend Roger. And we are
The Cowboy.
Yeah, we are talking documentaries. We are reviewing serial killer documentaries currently, so we're in that season. And then GC Dub, a game changing podcast, is sort of a monthly recap show of GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, and that's with my friend Matt. So check all that out. Also on the North South, you can hear me on the Extreme Three-Way Dance, Shift's favorite podcast, and we are going through the history of ECW in that one, and we're in the year of 1999. You can follow me on all the socials at Jenny Position, and this was really fun show. Thanks for switching up the teams and putting me with Schiff.
Yeah, I couldn't put you with Sean because I feel like y'all would yell at each other far too often. So. No, I'm just playing. But Schiff, what do you have to plug?
Just listen to everything on this feed and on the other feeds, our brother and sister feeds with No So Feed, as Jenny mentioned. She kills it on Wednesday. We call that the Jenny time. Actually, I just did. So
peanut butter Jenny time.
That's exactly what it is. While you're having a peanut butter and Jenny sandwich, you listen to her podcast.
That sounds dirty.
Yeah,
it did sound dirty. I wasn't trying for it to be like that. My apologies. Once I said it, I was like, it's too late. Check out the Pop feed. Check out Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed. Everyone's just turned out great work. You can follow us on the Backbone Network on Twitter and the Backbone Wrestling Network on Instagram. Hey, we're doing great shit. Me and Logan killing it on the Vince Russo pod. We have Hidden Gems here. He's on the Rap feed. If you think of a day of the week, Logan is podcasting or dropping a podcast Monday through Sunday. The man never stops working. We got Sean Kidd. He's reinvigorated, dropping podcasts like it's 2020 out here. It's crazy, guys. We got the new gen guys, Slanka and Justin Pratt. They're killing it. They're in 1994 now. Listen to that. Just go listen. Just listen. Just subscribe to listen. That's all I ask.
Love it.
Definitely do what Shift said for sure. Everybody's been killing it on the backbone so far, but just a couple of shows. Shift's mentioned it a couple of times throughout the pod, but the Cross Up is my weekly pod where I look back at the weekend wrestling that was. Look mostly at TV, but if there's a PLE pay per view, whatever you want to call it, I will talk about those as well. But that's been super fun to do so far, and then we are going to record an episode of Highway to the Impact Zone pretty soon. So, and where we're going to be doing Final Resolution 2007. So we finally made it to 2007. I think we're about. No, I'm just playing. I think we're about a year away from it getting really good. I know Jake will groan when he hears that, but I know 2008 is a strong
He's
year.
been saying it's been good for 100 episodes
I
now.
know. It is getting better. I'll put it that way. Don't listen to our last episode if you want to think that's true, but I definitely think 2007 and 2008 ended up being pretty good years for them. So, Shift pretty much, talked about everything else that I'm on before I spoke. So, just listen to everything on the feed on the backbone. We appreciate everybody that's been with us so far, and we will enjoy and appreciate it that y'all continue to listen. So, we appreciate you for being here with us tonight, and we will see you next time we enter the temple.
Bye.